when you say easy life mein, it really, it reminds me of like the toughest point of my life.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet. Sometimes I feel guilty कि I wasn't in touch with Suraj ji as much as I should have been. My destiny is not such that लोग आके मुझे काम देते हैं. मुझे struggle करना पड़ा. तो वो मेरे रहेगा कुछ कुंडली में, अगर कोई पढ़ेगा तो रहेगा. Struggle बहुत रहेगा. Karan had cast me in Takht. So that would have been my first, that would have been my first film that I would have done with them. Varun has no ego. I mean, इतना बड़ा star है यार. Like, whether whatever it is, like, how many of his films you've seen or not, everyone knows the guy. He's a big star. But no ears. Yeah. Very well read. Yeah. I was going to say that exactly. She's read. I mean, you talk to her about Kafka and Nietzsche and all these people, she'll know them and she's read about them. Like, I'm still a fan. So sometimes when I meet these people, I'm like, first of all, it takes me a while to like get over. Achha,
you thought Rocky?
Rocky Bhai. He's such a handsome, good-looking man, and then he's so sweet when he speaks to you.
Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to News 18. I am Titas Chowdhury in conversation with Akshay Oberoi.
Hi.
Thank you for welcoming us to your lovely home.
Oh, thank you for coming. So happy to have you.
Absolutely. No, but actually we were talking about Isi life, mein. So I'll start with that.
Please.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah.
Imagine, 2010 is when it had released.
Memory, yes.
So technically this is your 15th year as an actor.
Yeah.
How do you look back at the last 15 years?
I love acting. Okay, I really love acting. So don't take this in the wrong way. It's been a struggle. It's been a lot of heartbreak. It's been a lot of rejection and reminding myself that I know this job. I'm good at this job. I can't do anything else. And it really tested me and how much I really want to be here and how much I want to do this work. And it's a beautiful profession. Like, I've learned so much about myself. I think I've become a better husband to my wife, a better son to my parents, a better father to my child, because I do this work for a living.
Wow.
Because I play with emotions all day and I read characters all day and I study characters all day. It's been beautiful. But it's also been a struggle. I mean, when you say "Isi life," mate, it really, it reminds me of like the toughest point of my life.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet. And it took like, my second film, if you look, 2010 में इसी लाइफ में आई थी और पिज्जा जो मेरी सेकंड फिल्म थी वो 4 साल बाद आई है. I think I signed it 2 years later, but those 4 years of being away from a release, I can't even tell you what, I don't even know what guided me through. Thank God a film came and Bijoy Nambiar called and, I had done a small thing for him in a TV show called MTV Rush and वहाँ से मुझे पिज्जा मिली थी. And UTV was looking to make a small horror film. So I got lucky in that. Then the ball started rolling. But those 4 years were the most difficult of the journey so far.
So you're saying that because of, the underwhelming box office performance that Isi life may had, that did not translate to film offers perhaps in the way that you had expected.
Right,
I mean, come on, it was a Rajshri film. One would expect that,
right.
a flood of offers to just gush in.
So the film had such a disastrous box office that nobody knew about the film. And हालांकि राजश्री की पिक्चर थी, किसी को पता नहीं था कि फिल्म आ रही है. So एक वो था. दूसरा मैं, like, it wasn't like I was being created, so there wasn't backing in the sense of like, चलो ये नहीं चली दूसरी पिक्चर तो आ रही है. Nobody was there to make films for me, which some actors have, some actors don't have, so we all have our own journeys. But it was such a big launching in my head, Sooraj Barjatya, Rajshri, from the, they got so many great films for so many decades, that it was definitely a little crushing when it didn't work at all. So it was so difficult because I had to go back and I think it was 6 months in Bombay. I was a theatre actor. मैं पृथ्वी में theatre कर रहा था और 6 महीनों के अंदर मुझे ये picture मिल गई थी. So that was very quick. So it wasn't a struggle to land my first film. After that is when the struggle started. I remember actually I printed my portfolio and started knocking on doors after my first film.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was almost as good as not having done any work at all. Years later, I think people have gone back and seen the film and now they know my work, so they connect the things. So it's a whole different thing now. But at that time, it was like I really felt, man, I'm on a train to nowhere. It was crushing. But somewhere there is a voice in me that has always been there that I will make it. I will be where I want to be. it's not a voice, it's not my own voice. I think it's the universe put it in me, you know, because it's a voice I can't shake. And I hear it all the time. Ki, lage re, lage re, lage re. You're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. So thank God for whatever that voice comes from, because that's how I survive.
But did you manage to stay in touch with the Barjatyas?
Man, not as much as I would have liked to. I think we all kind of felt the heartbreak of the film. There's a lot of fondness, a lot of love, deep respect. It's a very good question you're asking, actually, because sometimes I feel guilty कि I wasn't in touch with Suraj ji as much as I should have been. मैं कभी कभार उनको मैसेज कर लेता हूँ कि उनकी फिल्म देखी या उनके बारे में सोच रहा हूँ. But again, I had to mature myself. You know, now I have the maturity to look back and say, I as Akshay could have done a better job. You know, to maintain a nicer relationship or just a relationship. But when you're young and you're in your 20s and when the film doesn't work, you break apart, you know, so you're trying to pick up pieces. So you're not really thinking on the level I'm able to think now. So looking back in hindsight, I probably could have done a better job.
Yeah.
Should have.
But knocking on doors, like you said, carrying your portfolio, did that also include making cold calls to filmmakers?
Yeah, and I still do it.
You still do it?
I still do it. I still message directors all the time. Now it's not so cold anymore because they know me.
Yeah.
Abhi thoda garam ho gaya hai. But I've called. That's Bijoy. I mean, it's a great example. I saw Shaitan.
Right.
I walked out. I asked everyone for his number. I got his number, and I just kept dialing his number like over and over. I was like such heights of desperation.
Yeah.
You know, I kept dialing, and I still have a memory. मैं बच्चन साहब के घर से लेफ्ट मार रहा था, वो जो उनका जो राइट पे जो बंगला है और जो जू वाला, तो मैं लेफ्ट ले रहा था और सडनली बिजॉय का फोन आया, तो और मैं गाड़ी चला रहा था, साइड पे ले लिया फटाफट, एंड देयर इज ऑलवेज अ पुलिस ऑफिसर देयर, यू नो, ऑलवेज. वो लेफ्ट लेते ही जिसको पता है वो गली, लाइक सून एज यू क्रॉस दैट इज अ हवलदार, तो वो पकड़ा भी मुझे. मैंने फ़ोन लिया और वो पकड़ रहा है मुझे और वो साइड पे लिया और वो बात भी कर रहा है और बिजॉय बात कर रहा है मुझसे कि कौन है तू, कितनी बार फ़ोन करेगा, यू नो. एंड आई एम टॉकिंग टू हम, एक सर एक मिनट प्लीज़, एक करियर का सवाल है सर, एक सेकंड, यू नो, आई डील विद द पुलिस ऑफिसर लेटर. एंड आई एम टॉकिंग टू बिजॉय एंड आई सेड कि या आई एम सो आई डिड दिस राजश्री फिल्म एंड आई एम बिग फैन, आई सॉ शैतान एंड आई लव टू वर्क विद यू. So he says, what are you doing right now? Are you around? I said, I'm in Juhu. He said, can you come to Andheri? And that's how I got MTV Rush. So I learned that lesson very early, that there is no shame in asking for work. There's no shame in asking for work, especially if you want to do the work.
Absolutely.
You know, and my destiny is not such that लोग आके मुझे काम देते हैं. मुझे struggle करना पड़ा, तो वो मेरे रहेगा कुछ कुंडली में, अगर कोई पढ़ेगा तो रहेगा, struggle बहुत रहेगा. So I learned that lesson very early. There's no shame in asking. What's the problem in telling someone I admire your work and I want to work with you? What's the worst that happens? They say no. At least you tried.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, and I still do this. I still message people all the time that I admire and want to work with.
Fantastic. But Akshay, you know, up next for you, there is of course, you know, Sanskari, which is like one of the biggest commercial films that's, you know, slated to release. But I think incidentally, this is the first time you're collaborating with Dharma Productions.
Yeah.
It took 15 years. Yeah. So tell me, do you think this is a byproduct of let's say, a fighter?
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you, Siddharth Anand, Mamta Anand. Any chance I get to thank them, I use that opportunity, because they believed in me when no one in the commercial space. I think people will say, "Ye actor अच्छा है," but they would never say, "Let's put him in a mainstream film." For that, it requires a lot more than just अच्छा actor hai. You know, there's a lot more that goes into that. But these are people who really just bet on me. You know, we did a show called Flesh together, which I loved that role. I played a flesh trade owner and, you know, really like hard hitting role. But it was on Eros Now, and I think Eros Now around that time when, you know, there was an issue, the channel shut down, and so not many people watched it. But I remember Mamta Anand called me and said, "Ki I'll get you something that you deserve," you know. And just the fact that she said that, usi mein like jeet hai. But the fact that she actually brought a fighter to me. And yeah, I think all of this is a result of fighter. You know, now people say, ki, "Ha, okay, he's done that mainstream film. Now we can try and take him in this, and now more people know him." So it all builds, you know. So absolutely is a byproduct of that. With that said, I haven't really publicly spoken about this, but Karan had cast me in Takht. So that would have been my first, that would have been my first film that I would have done with them. And I think Shanu Sharma had tested me for a part which was the third brother, like Ranveer, Vicky, the Murad Baksh was the character. And then Yeah, and then I met Karan, and and Karan is so fascinating and so open. He just said कि मैंने तेरा audition भी नहीं देखा, but I know your work and I wanted to collaborate with you.
How sweet.
So very sweet, yeah. Very, very sweet. And I was like, wow, okay, cool, and then we did the look test or whatever, but then COVID happened, the film shut down, so
was that heartbreaking? Because it's such a big film.
Yeah, it really
Karan, I think,
was.
was supposed to direct
Yeah, he was
that.
going to direct it, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a huge film, and I still have the picture of me in that costume, and I look at him like, yeah, I look, this works.
I look the part.
I look the part, yeah. No, it was very soul crushing, yaar. It was like COVID में already धंधा बंद था.
Right.
फिर ये खबर आई, and I remember again I was sitting here somewhere in the living room, and it came in the paper that Takht shelved. And I was
That's when you read it first time.
Yeah, I didn't know because I wasn't privileged to get that information firsthand. तो मैंने वहाँ पे पढ़ा. And I said, the industry was shut, right? So you didn't really know कि क्या हो रहा है. But it was always like, okay, ये कब खत्म होगा, we can get back to work. And I remember my team, managed by Exceed, my team telling me when Fighter came, they were like, this is, तेरे कुंडली में था ये कि बड़ी फिल्म आएगी. This is that, उसका replacement ये है. So I remember that being a thing of like, okay, ठीक है, ये नहीं मिली, बट कोविड खत्म हुआ और फाइटर आई.
देर आए दुरुस्त आए, like
बस वही है यार, वही है. दैट बहुत लागू, मेरे ऊपर तो बहुत लागू होता है वो.
हाँ, right. But there is this. So of course, Sanskari, Karan Johar is producing it. Yeah. There's Varun, there's Janhvi. Now there's so much of, I think, misconception surrounding a Karan Johar or a Janhvi Kapoor. Nepo-kid, like they say. One would assume that they tend to take their careers for granted, or that they get opportunities served to them on a silver platter. I think only when you come to know them more closely, when you work with them, you do realize that okay, there are certain myths about them that do exist. What are some of the myths, Akshay, that got bust?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the entire industry says, and they're right, Varun is a sweetheart. Varun has no ego. I mean, इतना बड़ा star है यार. Like, whatever it is, like, how many of his films you've seen or not, everyone knows the guy. He's a big star. But no airs. No airs whatsoever. कोई ego नहीं है. Same with Janhvi, and I think I might have been guilty of it also. In fact, I'll share a story with you. We were at a restaurant, and I ordered something, and वो आया नहीं. तो और जब वो waiter आया, तो he apologized to Janhvi, not to me. मेरी चीज़ नहीं आई है, but he's apologizing to Janhvi. Now मेरे मुंह से ऐसे निकल गया कि wow, must be nice. Like मेरी चीज़ नहीं आई, but apology तुम्हें मिल रहा है. Like must be nice. I just said it like that and actually didn't think so much about it. About an hour later, she came to me and she said, I want to share something with you. I said, yeah. She said, I know you felt bad in that moment, but let me tell you also why the flip side is also there. So we had some moment where, I won't get into the details because it's a bit private, but something happened to her that morning where she had been reminded of her mother and how great her mother is by somebody, okay? And this person was going to work with us that day. So she had built up this whole thing. So she said, for the first 3 hours before I've reached here, I've been beating myself up thinking, how will I ever match up to my mother? Because I've been told this, that let's see what you do today, I've worked with your mother X amount of times and now I'm working with you. Let's see what you do today. So she says it's hard on both ends, something like that she said. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, wow, first of all, she's very intelligent. Like she's...
And very well read too.
She's very well read. Yeah. I was going to say that exactly. She's read, I mean, you talk to her about Kafka and Nietzsche and all these people, she'll know them and she's read about them. So there is a misconception we all carry, but there's struggle on both sides. Yeah, there's struggle on both sides.
Absolutely.
For those people to match up to the legends, for us to prove something, like on both ends, it's difficult. And from that day on, I swore to myself that I won't just create a thing about somebody. I won't generalize and just say, they have it easy or I have it harder. Everyone has their own difficulties and their own struggle. No one has it easy.
Very true. Right, we're looking forward to that. Akshay, however, I've read some speculative reports, I don't know how true they are, that you might just be doing a Hollywood series. Is that true?
There's something in discussion. I think that news leaked a little early, but let's see what happens. There is something that I've been sort of in talks for, and I don't know where it goes.
But you have been auditioning there over the years?
Yes, no, not over the years. I recently, after Fighter, decided that I grew up in the US. I know the US very well. The American accent is in my back pocket. I can whip it out at any time. So
we are going to test that in some
yeah,
time.
sure, why not? So I mean, I grew up there, so I know that life very well, and I thought, ki, why not cast a bigger net? So I signed with an agency about 6 months ago. They're called Crimson Media.
Okay.
Matt Nayes and Suchir Batra. They have a lot of Indian actors on their roster, and they've been sort of pushing me for stuff or auditioning and things. And I got close on a few things that didn't work out, and now there's one more kind of in the running. Let's see what happens.
That would be great. If
Yeah,
that
no,
happens.
I definitely think sooner or later I will do something there.
Right.
India तो छोड़ के नहीं जाऊँगा कभी.
नहीं.
Because this is the mainstay. It'd just be nice to do other work as well.
Absolutely. Okay, the biggest film of, I think, this year or next year, Toxic.
Next year.
Next year, okay. One of the biggest upcoming films, I think, you know, that the Indian film industry is going to sort of give birth to is Toxic, right? And you're a part of it.
Yes.
You know, Geetu Mohandas, she's fantastic. Okay, I loved Muthan, okay.
I love Muthan.
That's a beautiful film.
I just said it to somebody like 10 minutes ago. Loved it.
Yes. You know, one would assume that, you know, when you have a woman filmmaker, that action or a gangster drama isn't the first thing that would come to their mind.
Right.
But look at her. You know, like Muthan, of course, Toxic is also, I think, going to be a gangster drama. What did you make of her?
Oh, she's badass, man.
She is.
Badass, man. I love that woman. You know, I saw Liar's Dice. I was doing a film called Gurgaon, me and Pankaj Tripathi. And Liar's Dice is made by Ajay Rai, the same producer as Gurgaon. So that has Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Gitanjali Thapa. And I remember कि मैं ऑफिस में बैठा हुआ था, so Ajay Rai said कि यार मैंने एक पिक्चर बनाई Liar's Dice, देख ले, free है तो. So he put it on a laptop and I watched it. And I remember being like, who is this filmmaker? And then Muthun happened, and she's really special. Like, she's really a very, very good director. And she is that. Like, she is, you know, she's not soft. She's hard, and she's, you know, she knows how to direct gangsters. You know? Like, she gets this universe really well. She is the right person to direct this film, you know. Bang on. Like, some of the stuff that she tells me and makes me do, and then she's very excitable. So when she likes something, she's like, she lets you know it. You know, an actor doesn't need anything more than that. So she'll be like, you know, she'll just scream out, Akshay, I love it, come watch it. You know, and like, I don't like watching playback, but sometimes I watched it with her and I look at the thing and I'm like, that thing you told me, like, look at the result. She's really good. She's a really good filmmaker. I'm very excited for the world to see her work.
Did you wrap the shoot?
I have like, I think just 2 odd days left.
Okay. And I have to ask you this. I mean, I know you have spoken about Yash, but he's such a massive star, Akshay.
Yeah, he is.
But, you know, the larger perception about him is that, you know, despite that stardom, he's an extremely grounded, nice man. What was that experience like? You
know, the thing is that I'm a film fan, you know, like I'm still a fan. So sometimes when I meet these people, I'm like, first of all, it takes me a while to like get over. Acha,
you thought Rocky?
Rocky Bhai, you know, he's such a handsome, good-looking man, you know, and then he's so sweet when he speaks to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, what? And like, it's a bit jarring at first, and then you meet him over months and months and months, and you're like, ye aadmi aisa hi hai, like just a sweetheart. He is the biggest thinking person I've ever met. His vision and his, you know, self-belief and self-confidence is bigger than anyone I've ever met. In fact, I've learned so much watching him, thinking like, meri soch itni choti kaisi hai? You know, why can't I go out and achieve the world like he does? So I really admire the guy in lots of ways here. And then, you know, इतना बड़ा स्टार कहीं भी बैठ जाएगा, कुछ भी पहन लेगा, उसको कोई स्ट्रेस नहीं है वैसा, insecure नहीं है वो.
Right.
You know. I like really hats off to him, man. I like look at how I'm gushing talking about him because I genuinely feel that way about him.
Right. You know, but I think this is something that a lot of these South superstars have, because, you know, I remember speaking to an actor. She's saying that, you know, one day Prabhas just walked in, you know, to a film set of which he was not a part of, but he came to know that, oh, this film is happening. He just came and he sat on the floor of the set saying that, you know, I'm fine waiting here.
Yeah. I don't see that a lot here. I mean, मेरी अभी आदत है कि मैं ज़मीन पे बैठता हूँ, and maybe it's like a thing कि मैं ज़मीन से आया हूँ. Like I don't know what it is. These guys are also like that. Like Yash was a bus conductor's son in Mysore. Yeah. I mean, look at the star he is today. So I think there's something to that, to remind yourself that don't think about yourself here. You should be here. But very often on a film set, if I sit like that, लोग आके बोलते, अरे क्या कर रहे हो sir? कुर्सी में बैठो, क्या कर रहे हो? And I'm like, I always tell my team, चढ़ा के मत रखो मुझे. Like I always tell it's the same team I've had for the last 10 years.
Right.
My sport and hair and makeup team. I always tell them, don't treat me in that way, because I don't want to get confused. I don't want these lines to blur. So they think as your stardom rises, you need to behave a certain way. No. And it's nice to see these big South stars behaving that way, because it makes me feel, मेरी भी सोच सही है.
Right, right.
Like if these huge stars are like this, then I'm doing okay.
Right. Recently there was this news that I think because, Kiara, I think, was pregnant, Yash decided to, shift the shoot from Hyderabad to Bombay.
Yes, it's true.
I want to know from you, since, you're a man yourself, Akshay, do you see the larger, this working culture changing?
I do see it changing, but I'll tell you what, I hope this doesn't sound any negative way, because look, I really admire what they did here, but I hope it applies to all actors, not just big stars.
Right. Very true.
Big stars have a lot of control and say, but I would like that someone who's not that big a star, who's a very principal part in the movie, to also have that thing of like, I'm a new mother and can you help me out? I understand that money comes from the bigger stars and that's how you raise the capital, so really you can move things around for them. I just hope it starts applying more on a human level than just monetarily, which is just something that I was thinking about.
Very true. I want to talk a little bit about your wife. She's not out there, so much. She's a doctor?
Well, no, she works in the healthcare field, but she's a consultant for the healthcare industry, for development.
I want to know, what's the plus side, let's say, of having a spouse who's a non-actor?
Oh, man, when I come home, we don't talk shop, because she has no idea.
She watches your film?
She watches my stuff. I barely watch my own stuff. So it's like if like we get invited to a premiere of one of my films, then we go. So she watches my stuff, but she's not a film watcher.
Okay.
She doesn't know like how much you and I would know about cinema, or iska message aaya or uska message aaya, like what does that mean for me or whatever. So I've been able to sort of do my own thing, and like we don't come home at night and talk the same thing that I spent the entire day talking about.
Yeah, that's a relief, right?
It's a massive relief for me. It's a massive, and like I have to tell her this is so and so, and this is the project, and I'm excited about working with so and so because they are so and so. So I actually really like that. It's like it gives me sometimes, as I love movies so much, I'm so consumed by movies. I feel like everyone knows. Every single person around me knows what I know about it. But it's so refreshing. She reminds me that there's a lot of dunya out there outside of the movies. So it's really nice to get that. So you're not fully sucked into it.
Right. Lastly, Akshay, you did have a little bit of a connection with, Vivek Oberoi, but you, of course, carved your own path. You have spoken about it, right? About how you did not want to seek help. But is there a personal equation there?
No, and I think maybe I should correct that, because that was the way that I said it, that I didn't want to seek help, but there's also not help offered.
Okay.
Right? So like I have said that in places because I didn't want it, but now I think as time has gone on, I've become very honest, because I lie for a living. I'm constantly saying in somebody else's skin, saying dialogues that are not mine and feeling emotions that I'm trying to make mine that are not actually mine. So I've decided that the only way to be sane in this field is that every other time that I'm not in front of the camera, I will be honest.
Right.
So I'm just being honest about it. But there is, unfortunately or fortunately, there is no real personal connection either. I'm a huge fan of their work. I think that they are great actors. I'm privileged to they're in my family. It's an honor, all those things. But help-wise, though, it never was offered. I never asked for it. And I think now, because people now know my work a little bit more. Now people are getting interested. But this has been, for 15 years, I've been kind of managing my own.
Yeah, for the longest time, no one even knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've just kind of been finding my own way. And that's my destiny, यार. वो मेरी कुंडली में लिखा है कि मुझे खुद करना पड़ेगा सारी चीजें. Which is fine. That's just what it is, And sure, it might have been easier one way, but that's not the way it went. So you can't cry over spilled milk.
Absolutely.
Here I am today talking to you, and I have a nice lineup of work, and I get to do the thing I love to do. It took a long time, but maybe this is for the better.
Absolutely.
Hi, this is Akshay Oberoi, and you're watching me on News 80.